Now that you know and can identify triads, we need to begin to learn how to identify triads in written excerpts. This will be something that we will help you with for a very extended period of time. But for the most part, I want you to especially look in your own music that you are playing and being able to identify those triads that are in that music, whether it is in written music that you're playing or if it's orally through your ensembles. The best indicator of where a triad is in music is something we call harmonic rhythm. And for this excerpt, it should be very clear what that harmonic rhythm is. This excerpt is the piano part from Billy Joel's The Piano Man. And you should be able to analyze the meter very easily. That the time signature is 3/4, and this back and forth in the left hand is clearly a waltz. And in this waltz, we should easily be able to see where the harmony changes. That's what harmonic rhythm is. It is how often the harmony changes. And so we should be able to see that there is an analyzable harmony there, and in each measure. So you can tell that by the meter in this waltz, texture in the left hand. You can also tell it through the bass. Notice how often the bass changes. If it changes just once a measure, then we know that should be another indicator that we have a different harmony in each measure. It'd be very awkward if we had a harmony here and then a harmony start there, even though the bass hasn't arrived yet. Not as much can be said for the melody. Because notice there is a half note on the downbeat and then a quarter, and it kind of keeps that up, but look at this third measure. This third measure actually goes the opposite of a quarter and then a half note. So when having to choose between which one is giving you a harmonic rhythm, was it the melody or is it the bass, I would nearly always choose the bass. Now that you have a harmonic rhythm, you need to be able to analyze that portion of music and narrow it down to a triad. For example, let's take this first measure right there. Well, let's first take a pitch inventory. Just label all of the pitches that are in that measure. Well, let's see, we have a C, an E, a G, and an A. Notice we can't fit all 4 notes into a triad. But then again, we should be able to look at all of those notes and determine if all of them are important. Because notice what is very important, that C in the bass is playing the entire time. So there's no question that that C is important. Notice we have an E and a G that's always playing at the same time too. We have an E and a G in the first 2 beats right here, and beats 2 and 3 we have an E and a G. What we also have is an A and the top voice in the melody that is only sounding on beat 3, the weak pickup beat. So it's clear that that note is not going to be as important to our harmony as the other three. So the three notes we should be analyzing for this measure are C, E, and G. So that's the triad we should be looking at. And we can clearly see it built by thirds. There it is, C, E, and G. We have a C major triad. The harmony changes. In the next measure. So again, let's take a pitch inventory. We have a G, we have a D, there's another G, we have a B, we have an F and an E. But again, notice the G is definitely going to be important. The D is sounding the entire time. The B is only sounding on beat 1 and 2. So let's maybe question that. But what we should easily question is the F and the E that are only eighth notes on the weak beat. So let's circle those. And circling it calls it a non-harmonic tone. And we're not going to include that in our analysis. We're just going to include G, D, and B. And notice right now, it's not stacked in thirds. Notice between G and D is a fifth, D and G is a fourth. Here's a third right there. That can be an indicator of the triad we're looking for, because we have a D and a B. We don't have an F, but we have a G. And there it is, G, B, and D. This is G major. Let's do one more. And let's skip to the thing you're hopefully already noticing. You already see a triad, A, C, and E, 3 notes stacked in thirds. So let's run with that. Let's think we have an A, a C, and an E. Well, A is also the bass, so we know that's going to be very important. We have one other note, which is an F, but it's only sounding for one beat and then disappears. So yes, we can easily circle the F and then identify this as, there's an A. So it's some kind of A triad. A, and there's a minor third and a perfect fifth. Or thinking of it this way, an A major triad would have a C sharp because the C sharp is in the A major scale. So this is A minor. So that's how you find triads in written music. And I hope you will begin looking for those triads in the music you are playing and the music you are studying. Now, being able to identify this as A minor and this is G major and that is C major is something that will be in our next lecture that will hopefully help a lot.